Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the man cave. Out in front of you is the KAVAN Pilatus Porter PC-6 Pilatus Porter. Sent to me by FPV Builds and Tech up in West Babylon, New York. Hey Anthony. And he gave me like a better than a 50% discount on it. He loved the work I did with the Bristol KAVAN Bristol B23, which I got hanging up there. And so he said, hey, what do you think about the Pilatus? I said, yeah, I really want it. So he offered it to me at actually better than half price in exchange for the reviews. I'm like, heck yeah, I wanted the plane anyways. So we worked out a deal, and here it is. So you understand, he's a small company. He just can't, he owns his inventory. He just can't, hey, I got 6 planes, give them out to reviewers. He's got to get some money because, you got to feed him and his wife, right? But that's just him and his wife. That's it. So, well, anyways, he sent it to me. Great guy to deal with too. I mean, he told me when I started doing reviews, this is the second KAVAN plane I've done a review for him, and I've done 3 or 4 Dynam planes for him. He said, hey, I want absolute honest reviews. I don't want you to sugarcoat anything. I'm like, well, I have to be honest. I said, if I mislead or I misrepresent in my videos anything I do, then people are going to figure that out, and then they're not going to pay attention to me, and there goes my channel, okay? And my channel is to try to help people in this hobby, get them in the hobby, and share my flying experience, and maybe that'll help someone else want to get into the hobby. That's the whole reason. So if I misrepresent, either by mistake or by just lying, I can't do that, and I wouldn't do that anyways. I'm a Christian man, and I will not lie like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not, okay? I have to be a witness. So there you go. Okay, enough of that off my soapbox now. This is the radio rates and CG video for the Pilatus here. Now, and this is an officially licensed model, just so you know. Okay, number one, I always start out with the CG. The CG on this plane is, if you put the recommended battery, which is anywhere from a 2600 4S to a 3300 4S, which you're going to have a hard time trying to find a 3300 4S light that will fit in here. If you put the recommend, you're going to hit the CG, because there's only one place you can put the battery in the first place. Okay, I've got a 2600 HRB, and it pretty much takes up the entire battery bay, and just because of the way that battery's shaped, and because there's not much more room I go forward, and I really can't go back any further. There's a dam back there that blocks it. And I really can't go that much further. I mean, I can go forward a little bit more, but then the back of this stops it. So you're pretty well stuck with a 2600 and maybe a flatter 3300, but that's okay because she CG'd perfectly right there. CG is 50 to 60 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wings. Simple, simple, simple to figure out. 50 to 60 millimeters back from the leading edge. And let me show you a landmark that comes on the plane that makes it very simple for you to find. Those black dots I put on there, but you see these little fill marks where you can see the spar going through there? Well, that fill mark, just that first part of the fill mark, at the very end of the fill mark here, where I have it, or actually you can even put it here, is your 50, and at the top of the fill mark, or I know these aren't fill marks, but the very top of that little indentation is the 60 millimeters. So all you gotta do is put your finger on that. You gotta put them black marks on there. Just put your finger on that, and it sets right up, and that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect right there. You can't, I mean, that's just perfect. Okay, so that's CG, 50, 60 millimeters back. Okay. Now, one thing I want to do that I don't always do, but I want to do it just to show you, and I haven't done it yet. I'm going to show you how to calibrate the ESC. And I haven't made sure. Props seem to be balanced, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to show you how to calibrate an ESC real quick. Number one, you're going to make sure your motor's on. Okay, motor's on. Okay. I'm going to carefully, remember that prop's live, I'm going to unplug the model. Going to put the model in full throttle. Okay, carefully get behind this prop. I know I'm in the shop. Okay, be careful. Plug the motor in. You're going to listen for 2 beeps. When you hear them 2 beeps, lower that throttle. Now, there's your 4 for cell count. Those first 2 beeps. Now watch this. I have immediate. Now, it was already calibrated, but I just wanted to show you. And what you're looking for is, I'll turn the prop off, is that the slightest, well, let me turn it back on. The slightest little touch of the throttle, and you get immediate throttle. Okay, prop secured. Okay, prop is secured now. All right, I just want to show you how to calibrate an ESC. Those steps again: unplug your battery, make sure your throttle cut is off. Okay. Okay. Make sure your throttle would work if you turn on the throttle. Go to high throttle or full throttle. Carefully plug in the model. The ESC will realize that the throttle's on, so it's saying, okay, go into calibration mode. Hear them first 2 beeps, and then lower your throttle all the way back down to 0. You have like 3 seconds to do that. Back down to 0, and then you'll hear the ESC arm, and then it goes to cell count, which would be in this case 4 cells, 4 cell battery. Counts 4. Same procedure if it was a 6S battery, it'd be a 6S count. Same procedure if it's a 3 cell battery, you know. Okay, so that's that. Well, anyways, so now we've covered ESC calibration, and you could leave the prop off to make it safe. I've already got the prop on, so don't do as I do. I don't know if I show you here. If I can see that mark on my arm there. That dark mark there. Yeah, that's a prop strike. That's happened years ago. From exactly what I'm talking about. And that's finally healed, but it's still got a mark from a prop strike. So I have paid for that. Don't do as I do sometimes. All right, now let's talk about rates. Now the factory rates, and this is interesting. It isn't these details, these instructions are not laid out with big graphic pictures. It's just lines of text, okay? But the nice thing about it is they give you a lot of information. Okay, I of course have it on the wrong page right off the bat. Okay, here you go. If you go to page 4, okay, they have, not only do they give you the rates that they suggest, but they give you flap settings, and they give you a suggested takeoff to elevator mix. So I'm not going to be doing a flight mode to figure out the elevator mix. I'm going to go with what they said. Now all these rates, okay, I'm going to put on the screen, on a splash screen, or superimpose it on this screen on the video, and I'm going to show you what the spectrum equivalent is, what it is in the radio. But I'm going to also show you here now. Okay, for rates, for ailerons, they want you to give, they suggest 30% expo, which is cool. They gave an expo suggestion, and they gave you 30% expo on ailerons, elevator, and rudder. I'm sorry, ailerons and elevator, 30% expo, and they suggest 20% expo on rudder. I put 30% expo. I use 30% expo pretty much on everything. Okay, for ailerons, their low rate is plus or minus the travel of 11 millimeters, and their high rate is plus or minus 15 millimeters of travel. Okay, like I said, I'm going to show this on the screen. Elevator, the low rate is plus or minus 11. The high rate for elevator is plus or minus 20 millimeters. That's the travel. And the rudder is, now I didn't go by the rudder. For me, I just read rudder 100%, 30% expo all day long. That's what I do. But their suggestion for rudder is for low rates plus or minus 16 millimeters up and down or back and forth, and then for high rates plus or minus 25 millimeters back or forth. Now I'm going to show you, other than rudder, I'm going to show you what that looks like on the spectrum. Okay? I'm going to show you on the plane. For high rates, on aileron, I'm sorry, low, I've got on low rates. Low rates aileron, they ask, the way it equates, what I told you about the figures of the book, this is what low rates equates to in the Spectrum radio. 60%, 30% expo, okay? The mid rates, I split the difference, is 70 over 30. And then high rates will be 80 over 30. This is for aileron. High rate 80, mid 70, low 60. Okay, so here's low rates, aileron. Mid rates, high rates. And not all that distinctly different, but definitely is somewhat different. All right, now elevator, their high rate is 80%. I picked 70 for mid, and 60 for low. Okay, low rate elevator, mid rate elevator, high rate. Okay, now for rudder, just to show you, I got a 100% over 30%, 100% throws, 30% expo, and that's what that looks like. Okay, so really, but that's a pretty good sized rudder. So you say, well, that's not much movement. That's a lot of movement for a rudder, because that's a big control surface. Okay, now let's talk about flaps. Now they don't, to show you what the flaps are. For flaps, okay, they suggest for takeoff flaps, negative 10% down, or 0.10 down, and then for landing 0.22 millimeters down. Okay, let me show you what that works out to on Spectrum. Okay, I'm going to show you the flaps first. Okay, so flaps up, I had to go on negative 100%, zero, no mix, because for flaps being up. For flaps, for takeoff flaps, in order to get their percentage, or the millimeters they want, I had to go with a negative 43 and a 1% down elevator mix. Now, you may not be able to see the elevator move. I got it on a 2-second deployment.
Takeoff flaps.
All right, there's,
Get her in the air.
okay, there's the takeoff flaps. Okay, and that was negative 43 with a 1% down elevator mix. For landing is a negative 10% with a 2% elevator mix, and they were asking for a negative 22 millimeters down. So this is the equivalent
Landing flaps.
of 22 millimeters down, okay, with a 2% elevator mix. So that's what those numbers are again. For flaps up, negative 100. For takeoff flaps, negative 43 with a 1% down elevator mix. And then for landing, a negative 10% with a 2% or a 2% down elevator mix. And these are the cool call outs I made for them.
Up.
Okay, listen.
Takeoff flaps. Get her in the air. Landing flaps. Set the plane on the ground. Flaps are up.
Okay, now for my audio call out for prop.
Motor armed. Be careful. Prop secured. Safe to approach.
Okay. And then, of course, for the rates, I just got
low rates, mid rate, high rates.
Okay. Now, so that's that. Like I said, what the book calls out for and what the Spectrum equivalent, or what equates to in Spectrum, I'll put on the screen to show you. And I'll fly the plane on the low rate and high rate. There's the mid rates just because I'm using a 3-position switch. And I'll say which one I like better. Okay, I will use their flat mix in the maiden and see which I like. You know, if I want more up elevator, more down elevator, or whatever, or if the mix, or if it doesn't need it, I'll say that too. But I like to take off with a plane and fly a plane by the book settings right off the bat, using the book CG, everything recommended by the manual first, and then adjust from there. Because remember, everybody is different. Everybody has different weighted batteries. If you live at higher elevations, the planes will react a little bit differently. There's different things that are environmentally different. So manual settings are just a great place to start. Usually they're spot on, and usually you can stick to it. But like a perfect example for me, jets. Jets would be very little throw on the ailerons and stuff, and then I'll always end up after I fly a jet several times. I always end up with 100% throws, 3% expo, all the way around no matter what, except of course for really touchy delta wings like the Mirage. But anyways, that's a different ball of wax. But anyways, okay, we covered CG, which is 50 to 60 millimeters back and leading the edge of the wing. We covered the rates. I installed an AR620 antenna receiver, but it's inside the wing compartment here, hard to get to. So not going to be able to show. I just mounted it to the side. If you watch my build video, then you saw where I put it. But there'll be a link to that video in there, and the unboxing assembly video, and then of course this radio rates in CG. If you're just watching this one, the glue, the tail glues, the elevator glues in. I'm sorry, the rudder glues in, the elevator bolts in. There's 3 big honking bolts that hold the elevator and the wings on. You glue in this antenna, this little flying vane, whatever it is. You glue that on. I did not have to change any of the trim, everything. The elevators, the flaps, or the ailerons, the flaps, the elevator, everything was perfect. Really didn't have to do anything. You watch the how you assemble this mechanism here. This is pretty cool, actually, by the way, how they got that. I really didn't have to do much of anything. The only thing now, the things I don't like about the plane is, they've got a great design here, and got a lot of things they thought out, and they've put some quality in here, but then they drop the ball on the battery compartment. Okay, I'm okay with that being foam, but it's just bare foam, and this paint just chips. It's already starting to chip off, just me taking the battery in and out several times. And this little cutout here where you can put your finger in there to grab a hold, that was pure white. So I took a black Sharpie, and I keep touching up the areas. What I'm probably going to do is take some clear packing tape and mask off these areas so that I don't keep chipping paint. The battery compartment is not I don't know what the deal is here, but they say up to a 3300. You're going to have to invest in some 2600s, which they're okay to get, but that's about all it's going to fit in here. It doesn't say about 2200. 2600 is the smallest it asks for. So, and then there's nothing secure in the ESC. It was just flopping around in there loose. So I took some of my fiber tape and taped it to the side, just a little bit of it, not the whole thing. You don't want to get hot. And getting the battery in and out of this thing. The strap, don't even worry about the strap, because you put Velcro in there. That battery doesn't have anywhere really to go, but it is a good quality strap. So, tomato. But yeah, I put some Velcro in there. That black section, that's Velcro down there for my battery to hit to. But there you go. Like I said, I don't like that. The foam feels very tight, very quality. Everything feels quality, and everything is quality except this battery hatch thing. This, it's like they ran out of design juice or something, and that was an afterthought. But other than that, good quality plane, and that is just more of a gripe, not really. It's definitely not a deal breaker. We'll see how this landing gear holds up. Oh, this is kind of cool. I'm looking at this right. Let's see. Okay, yeah. This These inlets are functional. Okay, you can get air in there, so that helps with cooling. That's going to draw air in there too, so that's good. That is very good. But that's how the real one looks. This has a little bit of suspension with the way that design is on the gear. But one thing is these lights are fairly bright. The paint is really good quality, very bright, very vibrant. This is going to be very easy to see. Everything went together perfectly. I mean, it went together really, really well. Don't forget on these pins, just kind of slightly bend them just a tad out. Don't do too much because they'll be too loose. But if you're having a hard time getting them in there, just bend them out just ever so much, just to give yourself a little leverage. But that's that. The plane looks good. It went together well. It has. If you put enough of these planes together, you can just kind of tell when you're dealing with something that's quality, and this is quality. This is a quality plane. It's just this was kind of they kind of dropped the ball. See that little paint's already starting to pick up right there. But that's, like I said, that's a minor gripe. And the getting to the XT60 was kind of a pain, but no big deal. Definitely not a deal breaker. And there you go, strong magnet there. Well, folks, there you go. I can't really think of anything. We covered the CG, we covered the rates, we covered the battery sizes, we covered the battery hatch, we covered that the prop was balanced, we covered how to calibrate your ESC. Features of the planes, things I don't like about, really just pretty much the battery hatch. We'll get out as soon as I gotta go. Been on vacation. I gotta go back to work for the entire weekend. It's now Friday after Milton came through, and hopefully I'll be able to fly next Tuesday, which will be, I don't know, on the 12th or 13th or something. No, see, today's the 11th now. 12, 13, 14, about the 15th. So hopefully we'll be able to get a maiden for you by the 15th of this month and of October. And there you go. All right, thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends. PC Pilatus Porters, and thank you FPV Builds Techs up in West Babylon, New York. God is good. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends. And cool looking planes.